What's going on, guys? It's Ashton or Clutch Guando, and I haven't uploaded in a while. It's been a good amount of time. I think the last time I uploaded was around like January or so when I was doing the Resident Evil 4 Let's Play. Um, excuse me. But yeah, it's been a really busy semester. Uh, busy pretty much every day of the week. It's pretty insane, but glad that that's over. It's summertime now, so I'll have time to start uploading again, which is it's exciting, but I don't know, we'll see. YouTube's mainly a hobby for me. When I feel like uploading videos, I will, and kind of just for it's more or less for me to kind of look back on my old videos, watch them, and kind of reminisce a little bit, but it's also to kind of put some form of entertainment out there because I think that's fun to me. So yeah, and then just a little bit about the gameplay. It doesn't really matter too much, but basically I was getting destroyed in the first couple of rounds, and you're gonna see like pretty close. I get destroyed by Glass. It was pretty stupid, but anyway, I'm getting destroyed, and I make a comeback, and then the last round actually was a 4v5 because one of our team quit. One of our team members quit, and we had to clutch up, and so we ended up winning. But it's a good game, trust me. So, topic of today's video, uh, as the title suggests, is what it takes to be successful when studying computer science. And so, just kind of a forewarning, this is my opinion based on my experiences because that's what I'm studying in college right now, and I'm kind of giving advice, things that I think will help people be successful in this field and successful in not only school but in their career later on in the future once you guys graduate. And so I'm just going to give 3 tips that I think are essential, and I'm sure that there are more or less, but there could be more, there could be less, but like I said, it's kind of just my opinion. So the first one I'd like to talk about is you must have resilience. And the reason I say this is because for some people, for a lot of people actually, computer science and STEM majors in general can be very difficult. And with computer science in general, there are going to be times where you have a problem and you have no idea how to approach it. And it can be really rough sometimes. So, for instance, last semester or this semester that I just completed, I was taking a systems programming class, and let me tell you, this is like one of the hardest classes that I've ever taken. Our project for the semester was to build an ext2 file system that ran over um, it was like a simulated disk image. So instead of running it on a real hard drive, we'd run it over kind of like a fake one that Linux will create for us. Obviously, because we don't want to destroy our hard drives and write stuff to memory that we shouldn't. But anyway, so that was our project, and there were times where I would run the program one time and then I'd run it a second time, and I'd have 2 completely different outputs, and I would have no idea why. And this kind of stuff is really hard to debug. It's really hard to figure out the small things because the small things are what matter. It's very fragile code. And so there were times, as I mentioned, where I would sit there for literally like 4 hour sessions just looking and trying to figure out the same problem that I was stuck on 4 hours before. And I think this is where resilience comes in. When you're in these positions where you don't really know where to go, and when you don't, and you're stuck and you're having a really hard time, I think it's important to take a step back, put your problem into perspective, and continue to grind. Continue to grind, because I think when you're grinding a problem, and when you're really thinking hard about it and putting everything you have into it, eventually you're going to figure it out. And this applies to so many other things. So that's the first thing I think you guys need to be successful in this field, or anyone to be successful in this field. And to kind of go off of that, I mentioned resilience, as you guys heard. I think you also have to have a willingness to seek help when needed. And so I mentioned, you know, you got to grind the problems out, but there is going to be a point where you have to get help, and you have to be okay with identifying that you are stuck and you've spent a lot of time on this problem and you realize that you're not getting anywhere, so you should probably get help. And honestly, that's going to be better for you in the long run, right? Because the sooner you get help, uh, the more progress you can make on the project. And so this kind of will vary from person to person, really. Some people are very stubborn, like I am. I'm a very stubborn person when it comes to getting help, and I kind of just want to figure things out on my own. And most times I can, and that's why I recommend, you know, trying to grind problems out, because it can be very helpful. But there is going to be a point where you have to get help, and you have to be willing to get help, because without that, it's going to be very hard, especially in a career as well. It's going to be very hard uh, to be successful if you get stuck and then, you know, you're not making any progress and you're kind of slowing down a project, right? So that's the second piece of advice I would give. The last one I would say is to challenge yourself. And I did mention that computer science is a difficult field in and of itself, but I feel like a lot of times people can get into this position where they're comfortable with where they're at, and it's simply just being complacent. So, for instance, you know, you could be working on a project for school where, like, all right, I know how to do all this pretty easily, right? Which is nice and that's good. But I think there are points where, okay, if I'm not learning something new and trying to challenge myself, then you're not really progressing professionally or academically. And I think challenging yourself and trying new things and getting out of your comfort zone and learning things that you have never learned before, I think is going to be really helpful for not only the academic career, but as well as professionally as well. Because you know, getting out of your comfort zone and trying new things and challenging yourself will expose you to more information, and it'll make you, I think, more successful in your career in the long run, academically and professionally. And so that's pretty much all I have. I think those three things can be very helpful in the success, in being successful in this field, and they have certainly worked for me. And so I hope whoever's watching this video can take something from this, and I hope it helps you out. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.